Hello, everybody. Vosti Tembewayo here, joining you all the way from sunny Dar es Salaam. And we're doing the Squared Financial Masterclass today. And I'm joined, of course, by my brother from another mother, my good friend, business partner, Philippe. And we've got a number of very exciting announcements to make about what we've been doing. We recently had a board meeting at Squared and things have gone exceptionally well. The team is performing exceptionally well. But before we get into all of that, into how Squared has performed inside, let's talk about what's been happening in the market. So we've seen some very interesting results announcements coming out. Toyota released, Novo Nordisk released, CVS Health Corporation released. I had a look at those. I must tell you the CVS numbers was not what I was expecting at all. And then, of course, on the technology side, we know that AMD released, and those numbers too were very interesting, as well as one or two of the other majors. So very, very exciting time for all of us in the markets right now. Now that that's said, I'm going to ask my brother Philippe to switch on his camera, and then we're going to press play. We're going to catch up a little bit. We're going to talk a bit about what's been happening in the markets. We're going to talk a bit about what's been happening from a geopolitical perspective, and then we're going to talk about what it means for you and I as people who are looking to create a little bit of wealth. Because ultimately, this is the point for doing these financial masterclasses. So actually, this is interesting. At the airport yesterday, I was leaving Nairobi on the way here, and you can kind of see it in my eyes, like I've not slept. I think you can see this. So we left Nairobi really, really late, landed in Dar at I want to say just after 1 in the morning, and then arrived at my hotel at about two o'clock in the morning, say. And then we spent some time, myself and the MD for our learning business, talking a little bit about, the business, where are we, catching up. And it's great, isn't it? Especially those of you who are entrepreneurs will know this. Like, the craziest thing about being an entrepreneur is we do our best work at the craziest of times. It's always either really early in the morning or really late at night when it's really, really quiet and nobody's bothering you. That's when you actually do your best work. Anyway, long story short, so we're sitting and we start talking and we're catching up and what's happening and who's doing what and where do we need to go, and as we're having these conversations, I then look up and I'm like, do you realize it's like 3:30 in the morning now? And it was 3:30 in the morning. We're still carrying on a conversation. The conversation eventually wrapped up at about 4:15. And then I thought I'm going to watch an episode of Ozark because I'm addicted to Ozark. So while I was sitting on Netflix, true story, 4:30 in the morning trying to watch Ozark, I was knocked out. And I had to be in a radio studio interview today at 7:30. So if you're looking at the tired eyes, that's why. And we've had back-to-back meetings here. But the purpose of this conversation is to talk a little bit about what's happening in the financial markets. First, a quick update from a Squared perspective, then talk about what's happening in the financial markets, talk a little bit about family planning, wealth planning, etc., etc. But as you guys all know, I really hold my brother Philippe in high regard as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to keep probing him and asking him questions from his perspective around entrepreneurship and building a business, especially at a time like this. Philippe, that's a beautiful art piece behind you, brother. How you doing?
I'm good, and you? How have you been?
Good. Yeah, I've been really, really good. I've just been busy. Like this, as you know, there's just so much going on. And I know, by the way, I spoke to Dirk and Hussam, I must tell you, about some of the things we're doing on our end because we have just confirmed Cat 1. And so I said to them, guys, we're not ready to pull the trigger on this side, so there's a lot for us to do, but we'll catch up on it after this. And I know that Dirk has been raising me, trying to pick up the conversation. Now that I've mentioned Dirk's name, tell us
He's
a little bit.
chairman.
Yeah, let's tell us a little bit about some of the machinations that have been happening in the Squared family. So you have now fully taken over as CEO, yes?
Yes. And I took over as CEO, and us, the board, has invited Dirk to join us as chairman. And I think his expertise in the overall financial industry, and especially as we are thinking to go for an IPO, and as
Yeah.
we're growing strongly, and as we want to look into Africa, how we are going to expand our offices around the world, I think Dirk has the element of governance that you want to have, and the gray hair you want to have on top.
Yeah.
Also, Dirk was board member and founder of a listed company. So it gives the comfort to investors and customers that you want a guy like him on top. Myself, of course, I'm not running it alone, and we have a team, we have governance, we have you as a board member helping us. a lot of quality and experience joining us to serve customers around the world and to go through that very interesting times that you've been mentioning, that the markets are mutating and evaluating. And we've talked about that last time, how technology has impacted the economy, how technology has impacted the world. Also, we're in high heat environment where people are really feeling global warming and changes. So those are interesting time to have a conversation. And I hope we give our audience the best we can.
So tell me a bit about what spurred the change of you moving away from being chairman, even though you were executive chairman, to CEO. What spurred that change?
Look, I've been gathering a lot of experience through those 23 years I've been in that industry, and it's like writing a book. I want to put that experience that I have finally into an institution, which is Squared Financial, and to be sure that the legacy of what I've learned and what I went through in my life allows me to grow a company. And I think that Squared is the right company for me to implement and involve myself on a daily basis. Especially the regulatory environment needs people with experience to be able to not only have a conversation with regulators, give them your know-how, and allow you to do your business and allow you to help others develop their own business. Because at the end, owning a financial institution, it doesn't mean that you want to be alone in the industry. You want others, and you want to be sure that the market keeps the best people.
Absolutely. So let's start there. Let's start a bit about the market at the moment. And all of a sudden the oil prices are coming down on the commodities side. Gold prices seem to be normalizing. And the thing about the financial markets, and as you know, I don't play the markets every day. I've got kind of, my people and a team that does this. But one of the things I find interesting is how nobody can ever call a market right. It's I suppose if you could, you'd be the wealthiest man in the world, but nobody can ever call a market right. And in a world like the one we're in right now, Philippe, where there is so much complexity baked into the system, we know now the tensions between China and Taiwan and the US somewhere in the middle there. The Russia-Ukraine crisis still remains unresolved. How do you see the global financial markets at this point, just at a macro level?
Look, if you look at overall, we're not that bad. The markets are still there. Valuations are quite high, substantial volatility. But what frightens me, what worries me, and I think it will impact financial market, is the social disturbance. Social impact. There is a real problem socially. And I think that governments need, and we talked about that last time, to really empower people and really focus on education and people and health and everything that you can do to empower people. Because at the end, who will raise us out of any turmoil? Russian turmoil, Chinese, Taiwan turmoil, financial crisis, health crisis, is us people, us humans. And it's important that we empower, educate, give the right vision to those people and to us anyway, as humans in general. Now, in terms of financial sectors, I wouldn't be that pessimist overall. Of course, certain companies are going to disappear or merge. It's normal business. I think banks are under pressure. Smaller banks are under pressure because in terms of the innovation they have to come through to build new products and innovate into new strategies. I think they're too small to be able to do that, certain of them, and others will expand and develop. In terms of, would I be extremely worried? Would I push the red button? If you haven't long time ago, I don't think it's the right time to do it now if you believe in companies you have invested. If you have very little experience and you've invested at large, this is again where you need to study your financial capability, how much you need to hold. But I'm not that negative globally for financial markets. It needed a reset. It needed new liquidity. Money has been passing from one point to another. There are certain extraordinary companies that are pushing owners to work again. So now, if you want, this shake-up has shaken up everybody. So everybody is really focusing. The ones who needs to focus is focusing on the solidity of the company and really going to get you the best out of certain companies. And I think that certain companies will create substantial highs. Now, where would I bet my money? I certainly would like to look at Europe, would like to look at the US in terms of listed company. Now, the rest, Africa is certainly a continent that you absolutely want to be invested and exposed to with the right people.
Tell me a bit about, and I just want to take a step back here. So the title of our conversation today is around finding the tips, or what are the tips you would give for somebody to choose the right platform to trade on? And as you know, there are hundreds of platforms out there, really. And most of them use similar technology, either MT4 or MT5 or something like this. But if I'm a novice investor and I'm watching this conversation between Vusi and Philippe in two different continents and two different time zones, and I want to believe that Squared is the right trading platform for me, why would I choose Squared as the right trading platform? Now, I know the answer to that, but if I was asking you the question, Philippe, what would you say?
Look, it's very difficult to answer that question without doing a marketing pitch. So I'm going to answer it because what you want to be sure is that we give your audience the real way to find a proper broker. And of course, if we want to finalize with one term, I believe that Squared has all the capabilities to serve the clients in the best term possible. That's in a nutshell what is Squared about. But let's say you are you are an active trader and you want to choose a platform. You want to be sure that it all comes to the first response, of the broker. Is he going to do the right follow-up to focus really in the product, to give you a quality product that it's easy for you to download? I wouldn't be too angry when I can't download the platform immediately, because technology is one thing, but service and pricing and regulation and capitalization, those are very important things. So you might have exceptional platform in terms of downloading and opening up an account, but you want to be sure they have the right capital. You want to be sure that they have the right tools, the right execution, the right people that understand your language and service you. You want to be sure that you can credit and debit your accounts at any time. You want to be sure that you're in an environment, on a regulation that has its credibility. And what I like about CySec in Cyprus is that they have improved largely, taken things very seriously. And I'm very comfortable that a broker, if you want to choose a European Union regulator or company, you should, Cyprus is not a bad idea. But I would really focus on capitalization, regulation, service, pricing, being able to credit or withdraw at ease. And I would really try to do an effort to know the people behind this institution, especially experienced. So there's a lot of brokers, but I would be very cautious because a lot of people are here. So let's say the truth, are here to go the other side of the customers. If you go for retail, mass retail customers, in the mass retail customers for many years, a lot of customers have been losing because of high commission. It's not that they're only inexperienced. I don't think they're inexperienced, but they have so much commission, slippage, netting, swaps that are hurting those people. And it's impossible for them to perform because when there is, let's say, an FOMC or any event, suddenly you start having circles on platforms that are blocking you to trade, or you sell euro dollar and they start slipping you 20 pips lower or 20 pips higher. Sorry, my kids have a small dog that they decided to put it here. So you wanna work with somebody that wants your good, that if you go well, and who has a substantial mass of customers and has also an element of institution. You want to be sure that you're working with a broker that has names, people that are willing to put their name in front. You're willing to put your name in front of Squared Financial. I'm willing to be the CEO. Dirk is willing to be the chairman. Hossam is the CEO. We have Ali Rupani that you had several discussions, an ex-Goldman Sachs with lots of experience. This gives you the credibility to feel comfortable that it's not a bucket shop that will shut down the next day. Now, let's be an entrepreneur. You and I are entrepreneurs. There are good people that want to start businesses. There are good people that want to start. And we shouldn't close the door to that people. But again, if you're a new customer and you want to work with a proper broker, those are criteria that you should strictly look into.
So you want to know who owns the platform, who's behind the platform. You want to know, are there any institutions that that are deploying capital through the platform? But also you want to understand, as I understand it, from your perspective, the scale of the retail market base that
Regulation,
and then regulation, of course.
pricing,
Yeah.
service, execution. Those are, it's important, execution, because you want to be sure that you're able to execute the trade, because it's all instant. It's all instant. You buy euro, 5 minutes later you sell it. You want to be sure that you're not killed in this millisecond. And this is where you need to work with people that have a certain experience and are there since a long time. Now, there are certain companies that have been there a long time. I don't think they have any more appetite to grow for growth. They're letting it run. And this is where, as a customer, you should take the privilege to look at others and join others that really want to succeed. And if you want a marketing pitch, we want to succeed.
I love it. Last year, I remember you and I had several conversations, and it kind of was part of our discussion board pack, that the Cypriots started a program around regulation of the platforms that were trading through Cyprus. And there's been a lot that's been done, isn't it, in Cyprus to make sure that the territory is, a global financial standard in terms of it belonging to the global financial ecosystem, similar to a Luxembourg or any of these other markets, for instance. So I say that only to say to the people watching this conversation that even if you may be joining us from Africa and are not altogether familiar with Cyprus and what's happening in Cyprus, one, I would encourage you to go to the net and read up about it for yourself. And two, I also want to say to you that that a lot of global platforms use Cyprus as a domicilium from which to do business, in particular for the Euro base, right, from the European customer perspective. Then, of course, the Seychelles for kind of the southern hemisphere, Africa, et cetera, that tends to be the environment that everybody's looking at. Let's go back and roll it back for me. So Philippe, looking at a business like Squared, is building a team around him to help him succeed in executing on the strategy of a business like Squared. What is in Philippe's playbook of the quality of people that he needs and the competencies those people must have?
First of all, I need people that are hard workers, that are curious, that really want to work, really want to grow. Because through my career, I was part of or able to elevate a lot of people from one point to another, because you want to be sure you look at your actual team and allow them to grow. You don't need to all the time go and recruit. You might find in your actual team people that have learned and have the hunger to grow. But you're searching for experience. You're searching for somehow loyalty to the industry, not loyalty to me, loyalty to the industry. Yeah. You want to be sure that those people understand the industry. You want to be sure that they want to learn more, because this industry is sky is the limit, because you can only grow. So I really search for people that have this passion, that people that have an understanding, they have patience, and also are able to handle pressure. It's important that if you're able to handle pressure, you can handle this industry. And also, it's important that all of them are sales driven. It means that inside of them, they want to sell. They want to be sure they understand that this business works with customers. We are at the service of customers. You want to be sure that you give that delicacy and that service towards your customers, and you value how important are your customers. And some sales and some employees or some colleagues that you might be able to recruit have it. Some of them don't have it. So it is our job, and we have a good HR, we have a good team. We're able to recruit talents. Of course, it's difficult because other competitors or contributors are keeping the best people. They're really retaining them. And we're also in a tough, why I told you about social disturbance. A lot of people don't want to work anymore. A lot of people don't want to go to work. There is no service in certain parts of Europe. They're subsidized, and I think it's wrong.
That is true.
And it's very wrong for them, very wrong for us to allow this to happen.
The fact of the matter is that there are no winners in an economy, in a global economic system where people can get paid for not working. There are no winners, right? The industry doesn't work, industry doesn't win, societies doesn't win, families don't win. None of us win in that kind of construct. It has an allure up front, but then over time it's unsustainable. We are at the moment, depending on which central bank you're listening to, we are at the moment, as it appears to me certainly, and if I look at the macros, in a bearish market, right? This is where we are at. If you listen to Mr. Powell from the Fed, you listen to Yellen from ECB, and you listen to many of the other central exchange governors, central reserve bank governors across the continent, even where I am in Africa, everybody seems to be on consensus that we're in a bear market right now. And so built into a bear market is a little bit of panic from clients who trade, right? Especially retail clients. One of the things I find interesting is how retail clients want to make institutional money, but then they behave counter to how institutions behave. Institutions understand that a bearish market is built into the cycle. They understand that a downward trend is a part of the cycle because and by the way, that if you buy in a downward trend, you get a good dollar cost averaging as you're buying whatever stock that you're buying. And they understand that the most important element of value creation, in particular financial wealth creation, is time. So they understand how to play these kind of factors together. I'm a novice trader. I'm watching Vusi and Philippe. Philippe's built, businesses that have traded over $500 million worth of liquidity, et cetera, et cetera. And I want to know from Philippe, how should I behave in a bear market? So if you were talking to me as a novice trader, and I said to you, I'm just getting into this thing, but man, I'm nervous. I bought gold at X. I see it's dropped 0.8%, right? I bought Plat at X. I see that's dropped. I bought a particular currency pair, and I'm on a red position. What should I be doing? What would you say to me?
Leverage. Be cautious on leverage.
Come on, Philippe.
Be cautious on leverage. Be cautious. First of all, there are opportunities. Every day you can trade. Every day there is an up and down. Every day the market go up and down. That's not an issue. An opportunity, you will always find it. But just be sure that if you trade, at least you have enough money to sustain and to last. Unless you have one bet, you're really betting for one single trade, go for it and be sure that you don't consider it as an investment, but you consider it as a gamble. Unless you have a strategy and you have an extremely high level of discipline, plus you have the funds to sustain your leverage, you can enter this market of speculation and trading if you're a retail investor and novice investor. If you don't have those things and you don't work with the right broker, please don't touch this market. Please don't speculate, because if you don't consider, you have to divide your sensation in few ways. Or you consider it as a gamble. You have an idea, you say, look, I think gold will go high. So whatever amount that you're going to put, just remember that you might lose it all and put as much as it again. So just be sure that if you are in that gamble, be sure you work with the right broker. Be sure that if you make money, they pay you, because you might be right on the trade. You might put $10,000 and make $150,000, and they won't pay you because they're most probably against you. Yeah. They're most the other side. So you want to be sure you work with regulated brokers, sophisticated institutions, whatever the trade you want to do, retail, speculation, gamble, a bet, be sure that you're working with someone that can actually pay you at the end, whatever side. And on the other side, my advices would be to really know, how do you perceive that trades that you're going to do it? Is it a gamble? Is it your business? Is it your everyday business? Is it all your savings? Just be sure that you're aware that this market can go in your favor. Of course, you can make a lot of money. I've seen a lot of people change their life completely in the good way. And I've seen people losing all their money because they went all in and they considered that this market was a guaranteed business. Also, I would advise customers to be sure they don't give their money to be managed by IBs, third-party people that have no experience, that would churn their money, that would buy and sell every day, that will earn commissions. Anybody that comes and tell you, I'm going to manage your money, be careful. First of all, ask your broker. Second of all, be sure who are those people. At least put his name on Google. Try to put his name on Google. Check his social network. Do some research about who's talking to you. There is no guaranteed 10% in that industry. Doesn't exist.
Yep.
It might exist on a toss of a coin once in a while by mistake. Be cautious. Be cautious because it's a fantastic industry. You can make plenty of money. I have friends that made plenty of money. I have clients that have made plenty of money in that industry. But one thing we all learned, and I'm speaking as a guy who lost a lot of money in that business, and who made a lot of money about it. Be cautious about leverage, and a big mistake is don't auto-convince yourself for success. Don't create a reason why you're going to hold the loss more and take small profit. You need to have an equivalent loss and an equivalent profit. Don't say, oh, I lost one figure on the euro. I lost 100 pips on the euro. But if the euro goes back, I'll take just 10 pips. It doesn't work. Your stop loss has to be balanced, and you should be able to take a position that is small enough for you not to put a stop loss, because of course market goes and takes stop losses. Your position should be healthy, balanced, and you can support it and last with it. Churning doesn't work because you pay commissions, you pay swaps, you pay netting. It all ends up to a cost. The 2,000-3,000 that you will make will go into commission stops, swaps, and netting, etc.
I just want to take a step back. I agree with everything you've just said. But these Instagram traders, these IBs who, are operating. So first, let me just say that in South Africa, there's been enough, particularly in South Africa, I've seen a lot of this because the regulator in SA is jacked. They jacked up. And this is important. So Philippe, just give me a sec with this. There are, for the people who are watching this who are not aware, financial institutions are regulated entities. All financial institutions are regulated entities. So when you're dealing with a financial institution, the question you must ask yourself is what regulation applies to this financial institution and what territory is this financial institution regulated in? These are the questions you must ask. So that's the first thing. The second is all regulations fit into categories. Regulators around the world have categorizations of regulations, and then they have treaties from one regulator to another where a Squared Financial can come to South Africa and say, we want to open up in South Africa, and the process we go through would be different to a startup that wants to just open up, right? Because you've got track record, you've already got pre-licensing from a different market, blah, blah, blah. The point I'm making is this. There are different categories. For the South Africans specifically watching this, and we have a massive, global audience, but specifically for the South Africans, there is category 1, which allows you to be an intermediary or an advisor. There is category 2, which allows you to manage assets. There is category 2A, which is purely for hedge funds. And then there's category 3. Now, do not, whatever you do, deal with any person who says to you, fund your account and I'll trade it for you. And I guarantee you, I'm going to deliver 5%. There's this stuff to listen for, guys.
Not at all.
You hear the word guarantee, run.
Run.
The minute somebody says, I'll trade it for you, run, right? Because it's a financial market. There's no oracle of this thing, even though we call Warren Buffett that. He's not that either, right? Now, Philippe, when I said, when you hear somebody say, fund your account and I'll trade it for you, run, you went like this. Maybe you tell them so they'll hear you. Why is it dangerous to fund an account and let somebody else trade it on your behalf?
I want to say something. First of all, you would be surprised that some brokers are not regulated. There are certain brokers that are SPVs or institution in certain islands without any regulation. And because they open such a small accounts, like you can open an account for $100, $200, they work on the mass in Asia, in Africa, and potentially in Europe. Those, I would be very cautious to take the time to ask where this company is based, what is it, where is it regulated, and the governance of it. Even if it's painful to get the information, and if you don't get the information instantly, run. Don't open the account. If they're not able to communicate with you in full transparency, the account, the company, the way the process is, and you receive an email from the company in the name of the company, never open a broker account on an email that is not directed towards the company and doesn't have the proper disclaimers and updated disclaimers. And please take the time to go to the websites and check the names, because sometimes there are fake websites. And please take the time, if really you want to put big money, substantial amount of money for you, to call the company. Call the number on the website. And if the number doesn't exist and nobody responds, run. Don't open the account. That's it. And when we tell you manage, and you are solely as a customer responsible for the losses, the broker gave everything for you to discover that he's a fraud, but you haven't done your job. So the loss is only for you alone in your bed at night, thinking how stupid you were to open an account in such an institution. Mm-hmm. Two, I would be look, asset managers are there, and some of them are extremely performing and extremely well and are working very hard. You know, there are certain funds that are extraordinary. There's certain proper asset management, and there are also specialized funds into terms of Forex or special asset managers. I wouldn't not look at it. I would look at it and evaluate that if I want to have exposure to currency or commodities or bullion or equities, there are certain professional people that would manage it for you. But then if someone tells you, send me money and I guarantee you 5%, block his phone and report it to your regulator.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And maybe when they hear it from you, Philippe, they will finally understand it. You know, I think one of the things, right, is, and then there's the, you know, the what I call the screenshot economy. The screenshot economy are these guys that have these dummy trade accounts, and then they strike up a hot number. They take a screenshot and then they post it and go, look at the numbers that I've made today. If you see anybody out there posting wins every single day, I guarantee you there's bullshit. I guarantee you somebody's lying, because nobody wins every day. It's impossible. Nobody.
Why would you expose your profits anyway?
And that was the next point I was going to make. Is why the hell would you expose?
Why would you do it? So, look, let's divide the subject too. Let's say for the sake of conversation around a nice drink or a nice juice or a nice sitting with friends, you want to talk about your winning trades. A lot of people don't talk about their losing trades. I'm talking socially. But if you're talking in a professional environment and you have somebody starting to do fishy things and exposing certain profits that come from another planet, you cannot pay attention to that. But it is normal that we as humans want to go for the positiveness. And I am not against it. You can make money. But again, you need to do your proper, real due diligence. And if really inside of you trust that person that he will make you win money, be sure that he's regulated, he has the right structure, because there are certain things that are called Ponzi schemes. And Ponzi schemes are there, present, available. And those people would come to you and tell you, he will use your money to pay the profit of the other. And it's going to be a ladder of profit until it all explodes. unfortunately, we have so much cash in the world that you have Ponzi schemes that have lasted more than the lifetime of the guy who's actually doing the Ponzi scheme. So, and it's still there and nobody knows what to do with it. So it is very important that you can make money in that industry. If you feel like trading, that's a good thing. If not, go for funds that have at least 5 years of experience, or asset managers that have audited performance. And if you really insist to have someone managing, put a small amount, very small amount that you can lose and not cry.
Let me ask you the question. Now that you've mentioned, and I was going to jump on it a bit later, but now that you brought it up, Ponzi schemes, there's something happening now where it's almost as if the Ponzi schemes are back. They're back again. They're back in vogue again. And they've found really clever ways to mask themselves. And I find that, maybe it's me, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Philippe. I find that when you start asking the age-old basic questions, you get back to whether or not this thing is true, legitimate, and real. So, for instance, questions like, show me your track record over an X period, a year, 2 years. Show me how you have performed, how your funds have performed, how your traders have performed. Second question, can I withdraw my funds? Do you have liquidity? If I put $500 today and I come out with $1,000 or $800, will I be able to withdraw my funds? Right. And when you start hearing things where the track record is a bit sketchy, or there's a lock-in period before you withdraw your funds, these are, and I'm not saying that these are definite signs that this thing is a Ponzi, but I am saying that these are things for you to start going, wait a minute, so what is the actual business model? And you know, I have I do this thing, Philippe, right, where I take my kids to the office, and the kids come with me to the office, and they have a little desk, all three of them, each have their own desk where they can sit, and because I'm trying to groom them. And one of the things I say to my kids is, if you can't answer a simple question about a business, either it's not a real business or you don't understand it. And these are simple, basic questions. How does the business work? How does it make money? In this instance, it's, am I able to withdraw my funds? Do you have the liquidity? Show me your track record, right? And I still don't understand why, knowing what we know, the psychology of human beings is such that they're still pulled and attracted to these Ponzi schemes. Why do you think these Ponzi schemes all of a sudden are back in fashion, back in vogue? You're on mute.
You have a shortage of liquidity in the world, and certain people with a certain experience are agonizing for money. And those are business owners or ex-asset managers or ex-financiers, and they need money. And so they create vehicles where they start to promote performance or investments, and they start taking money from people that need to have money exposed. They start taking money. People need to earn interest, and especially certain people that have a certain saving on the side, they want to place their money somewhere. So they start taking money from one side and putting it on the other side and pay interest on the other side. Now, of course, if you're going to put the deposit and you want to withdraw a few days later, most probably the guy will withdraw you a few days later. But you want to be sure that if you make money, you're able to withdraw. So this is where you need to try and see if they will withdraw the amount. But it's very difficult to identify in Ponzi. And one thing that you could do is read about them socially, read about them, Google, do your research, go to Facebook, go to Insta, go to Twitter, search for comments. Sometimes customers that have lost money or cannot withdraw any money, they have posted a critic or anything else. Take your time to read and ask for references. And even you can call your local regulator and ask, do they know this fund? Does it exist? Or do I have any complaint? And most probably they will answer. I understand that for certain retail or small deposit, it's complicated for them to have the correct answer, because the guy of the Ponzi scheme, as he's in a Ponzi scheme, will snob you. He will tell you, who are you to ask me those questions? I don't need you as a customer. And he moves on. Well, this is one sign that you shouldn't work with that person when he snobs you. Because if that person is customer driven, he will never snob you. He will work, he will help you, whatever size of accounts you have. And there are still those kinds of professionals in this industry. We are one of them, we believe. And there are others in this industry that are respectful towards their customers, and they're not Ponzi's. But Ponzi's are there. Ponzi's are present. Yes.
Let's graduate our conversation now. So we started first by talking a little bit about what's happening in the markets and where the market finds itself. We spoke a bit about if you find yourself trading in a bear market, what should you do? Then we jumped into when you're looking to identify a good trading platform and a good trading partner, a good broker, what are the telltale signs of things you should be looking for? And now we've kind of migrated into this conversation piece around how to make sure that the partner you're potentially looking at is a legitimate partner, that they have real locus standi. And if I understand it from your perspective, Philippe, make sure that they're regulated, or if they're not regulated, make sure you understand exactly how that instrument works, all right, and how they've structured themselves. Make sure that there's somebody on the other end that you know and you can hold accountable, right? And make sure that you understand how the underlying business actually works, the flow of funds, et cetera, et cetera. And if there are questions that cannot be answered immediately, no, your ears should go up and you should go, hold on, I need to spend some time doing more research on this because there's something here that doesn't make sense. So we've covered that basis. Let's talk about the F word that everybody who trades hate. Fees. How do I know what are good fees versus what are exorbitant fees?
Well, zero fees is always very bad. When they tell you there is zero fees, it means there's something wrong behind it, or they're taking a lot of fees. You have to put yourself in the logic of one single thing. Those brokers have a lot of employees, have a regulator to pay, have offices to pay, and they make money. That's it. So if there is always a fee, zero fee, I don't like it. I don't like to hear that you have zero fee. I would understand for a big institution if they want to do a marketing contribution, so they would consider that zero fee as a marketing campaign cost to promote people to open accounts with you. But at a certain point, it will stop. It will not be always, and it would comfort me to know that I pay fees. Now, fees have to be in the logic. So I think between a pip or between maximum, it should be a pip, depending on the size of your trade, and the lowest should be in terms of about 0.10 cents of a dollar, and those are fees depending on the volume that you're making. Those are fees that are acceptable, plus or minus. But surprisingly, you would be surprised how much not all brokers are expensive. The better they are, the more expensive they are. The more solid they are, those brokers, the more expensive they are, because they need to pay for the people to give you the service you want. So I wouldn't complain if I would have to pay some fees, because at the end, what I want to be sure is that I can withdraw my money, I can trade, I have a good execution, good pricing, good technology. I want to be sure that I pay those people right. Of course, you do a simple comparisons, and those charts are publicly available, and you can compare one broker to another, and then decide which one is the most competitive in terms of the top ones or well-regulated ones. So I don't think zero fee sum is something that you should be happy about.
Now, I know that it's part of the Squared strategy to educate not only current users on the Squared platform, but actually potential users as well. We're constantly issuing market information. We're publishing research that there's a capable team behind the scenes that churning that research, and we'll publish it to educate our market and our customers. Philippe, why is it important for you to educate your customers? The reason I ask this question is because somebody could argue that a smarter customer means you're going to make less money. Why are you spending so much money building educational platforms to educate your customers and users?
Because we want to grow, because our customers are are everything. They are the ones that give us critics to improve, are the ones that will allow us to make money, are the ones that are trading using our platforms. And I don't think that education is going to stop a profit and loss. You can be highly educated and lose a lot of money or make a lot of money. So I don't think that we should be worried about someone educated. The markets are volatile and a mistake can happen, or not only a mistake, a move doesn't go the way you want it to go. So education is key as an entrepreneur and an institution to be sure that if we want to evaluate in that world, you want to be sure that people have more they're autonomous. They're able to take a decision. And if they're able to take a decision, they will take a better decision, in my opinion. And you need to educate them to allow them to understand what decision they're going to take about. How is their decision process going to start? And this is where you want to help people to know their capabilities and to give them the right tools to take the right decision. And it's important for us as an institution, me as an individual, to be sure that we give all the potential to people to have the strengths to take the right decision. And I think education, research, contribution, even financial contribution, will allow us to go into a better world and, frankly, to have a better company. Because if we have better customers, we will have definitely a better company.
I love what you just said. You can have all the facts, all the insights, all the education. You can subscribe to the latest whatever news terminal and trading, and still get the wrong trade.
Yeah. Look at where we are politically globally. I don't think we have the leaders that took the best decisions for us since all time. We're living in a constant election process. How can it last? It's only been 110 years that we are in this new industrial world and technology world, plus or minus. And look how many times we've changed strategies. I don't know if this is the right thing.
Yeah. I want to jump very quickly. And again, we're talking trading platforms. Now, most people here would not be aware that, Philippe, we've been investing from a Squared perspective a substantial amount of capital on crypto.
Yes.
And with the launch of Crypto Caddy, something that I'm very excited by, and I know you've been spearheading it from a board perspective. Talk to the community a bit about, first, what is Crypto Caddy, and what value do you know it'll bring to the community that is the Squared family?
It's a crypto to crypto platform for now, and we established it in the US. And for now, it's for US customers for now, but it will shortly evaluate for our global database of customers. Mm-hmm. And this will allow us to make markets, to allow people to buy and sell any crypto, to keep them in their wallet, to be able to pay certain things or transfer through using their crypto or Bitcoins or other coins that they might have. And it will also allow us as an institution to be close to that technology, that new technology that is coming. I know that the crypto environment will evaluate. I know that the digitalization and tokenization of markets will evaluate. I would be very cautious, like I told you many times, on NFTs and others. But the tokenization and digitalizations of assets, this is a subject that will come. This is a parallel economy that will increase with real assets behind. You might have real assets behind, and I want to be sure as an institution that we have the right platform in the right regulatory environment. This is why we chose the US to start with, to be able to allow you to buy and sell any kind of crypto through a new platform.
I have to ask this question, obviously, because I've got some inside information, but why the US? I mean, it's easily the most regulated crypto market in the world. Why did you choose the US? We could have gone somewhere else where we could have just, built a crypto platform that has crypto to crypto, that operates as a crypto to crypto trading platform, some sort of exchange, and we wouldn't have had the same regulatory burden. Why did you choose the US?
First of all, the team. We found the right people that are based out of the US, people with extremely large experience in that industry, and they were confident enough and motivated enough to go forward with that. Two, the regulator there is comprehensive. They understand that industry, they understand that business, and they've created process and governance around crypto that allows you to develop it and work around it. Now, in terms of why did we start by the US? We started by the US because we felt confident that the volume of customers that have the appetite for a clean institution that wants to offer them a proper service, this was the right decision and the right volume of customers that will use this platform out of the US, because they are there very active into that. And I think I am very confident that it will be a great success.
It's one thing, it's very difficult for me to explain. We're busy with, as you know, Philippe, with capital raising. And so I spend a lot of time in the US and meeting with LPs and investors and family offices, etc. But I don't think human beings in other parts of the world have an appreciation for just how deep the capital markets are in the US. I don't think people have an appreciation for just how much money is sitting in the US, and that money constantly being deployed, looking for new opportunities, for new ideas, because lazy money doesn't generate alpha. So smart investors are constantly looking for good risk-adjusted returns where they can earn an alpha without taking unnecessary risks. And the US has just got so much capital in that market. Final question about CryptoCaddy in the US for you, which is this. We've spoken before about future plans from a Squared perspective, and without making this a Squared conversation about, IPO, et cetera, in future. But how comfortable and confident are you that the US business is going to be a competitive business in the US, first? Second, do you believe that CryptoCaddy in the US is going to allow Squared Financial to offer more value in time to Squared customers outside of the US?
A company like Squared has to be in the US. A company like Squared has to bring its know-how and expertise to the US. And I think that in the US, customers value expertise and value all those things that we've been talking about, you and I, for the past hour. And Squared Financial, now I see CryptoCaddy as an integration of an understanding of a new software. So we're getting closer as an institution to what is this new software, which is blockchain, going to do for us in the future. Now it's being interpreted or sold through a token.
Yeah.
But it will evaluate in different kind of real good things, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you want to be sure you have an institution there. But of course, if we continue and find the right partners, because what we want to be sure that we have the right partners, we're not going to go on our own full blast and open a big financial institution. You want to be sure that you have right local partners that will allow you to grow and use that expertise you have, merge it together, and grow in the US. And this is what is happening. This is what we're feeling with Squared. The right people are connecting to us to be able to allow us to be exposed correctly with the right regulators over there and expose our services. So the first step is crypto. The second and third level will be equity, for forex and other instruments that we will have. I would compare maybe Square to a potential Charles Schwab style of institution.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I see Square becoming in the US.
Yeah. But I mean, Charles Schwab built a phenomenal. Like it's they're still to this day, they're one of the most regarded, right?
Why wouldn't us also do it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're
even
working all these hours.
even if we've done it, you don't want to lose the hope. We're still very young and hardworking, and we're here, you and I, on middle of summer, talking. And you're traveling, I'm traveling, and to build something nice.
Right. Final question, and thanks so much, Philippe, for your time. By the way, I must tell you, so you and I have had a few sessions. I've had a few sessions with Ali. I've had a few sessions with Hussam. And I don't know how to break it to Ali and Hussam, but yours and my sessions always get the most number of attendance. And we always get like the largest number of inquiries and questions. So I don't know how to say to, I'm going to say to the design team, like maybe you guys should rethink the poster for Ali and Hussam, because Philippe's one's always has the
Put them
highest
some blonde hair like mine.
That might be it. That might be it. You never know. So
maybe you look fresher. You should tell them. But no, the quality of comments that you had from Ali and Hussam are top quality comments.
yeah, I mean, both gents are just absolute
Yes,
gents.
yes.
They bring the game, right? And this is
Yes.
it. Final question, and this is one that came through on
Yes.
Facebook comments, and the person here, Violet, says, "This is so informative. Thank you so much. I've been looking at getting onto a platform and trading. I'm very nervous. I've never traded before." I'm paraphrasing. Then she says the following. She says, "I'm a small business owner, and I often come into money." I take it she means she often has cash flow. But I sometimes have to use that money to run my business. How would you advise me to let me read it the way she's written it. What advice would you give to somebody like me who wants to start setting aside a little bit of money to trade so they can build wealth alongside building their business?
That's the to answer properly. First of all, thank you for the question. But to trade, to protect or increase your cash flow, it all depends on how much can you put on the side and not worry about. This shouldn't be your saving. This should be above your saving. This should be an amount that you say, I believe into Asian market or US market, or you want to do a basket. You want to be sure that you diversify. You want to be sure that you put a little bit money out in real estate, a little bit money in funds, a little bit money into certain stocks, or I would be cautious on stock picking, because it's very difficult to do stock picking without the right tools. So my advice to that person is to put a big sum in reserve in case of any worries he or she might have. Protect her business and be sure that she's liquid enough to continue her business, and then find the proper professional bank or asset managers to advise that person. If not, if they insist to trade, this should be an amount that is small enough for you to consider it that it could go to zero, and be sure that you are cautious on your leverage. It means that don't get in. Trading is a lot on the emotion. It hits you on the emotion. It hits your ego. You lose. You want to double down. You want to increase the position. You want to be sure that you're very disciplined when you take a trade. And this market will give you a lot of opportunities. And if you feel that the US stock market will go up and you believe in certain stocks, buy it, invest in it, no problem. Give it some time. Long-term investment make a lot of money. Long-term investment will always win if the company is good. If you're investing in a company that is good long-term, so be sure you buy shares and you sleep on it in an institution that it will last. And when you get at a certain point that you recovered your initial deposit, take it back, put it on the side or into something else, and let the profit run on things that you believe into. But daily speculation with stop loss, if you're not giving it 100% of your time, might hurt you one point or another.
Got you. I love that. So you're saying the following, if I can summarize it. First, don't play with money you can't afford to lose. Make sure that the money you're going to play with is money above your savings. talk to a certified financial planner or advisor who can help you understand what kind of risks you can take. And if, as to the extent possible, play the long game rather than the short-term day trader game, because you just might not have the time, expertise, and complexity of necessary skill set and information to be able to make a success of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Right. So everybody who's joined us for this conversation, thank you so much. Philippe, where do they find Squared Financial? Where do they go? How do they fund their accounts? Quick 30 seconds for us.
So they go to the website, squaredfinancial.com. It will redirect on the country. Be sure you choose your language. We have a multiple language, and then you can download the application. I think because if you use an MT4, we would need to have the account open and send you the link. And it's a simple process. There's a chatting process on the website. Be sure that you nag us if we don't respond. Send the emails. Do not hesitate to re-ask again. We're a quality institution. We want to have customers. We want to especially establish ourselves strongly in Africa with your help, with your support. But it's important that through the website or through even asking you through your social network, and you would give them the right links.
Absolutely. I often do. By the way, that is a very good point. Guys, if you're looking for any support, please hit me up and I'll connect you directly with some of the members of the team who are able to take up whatever support calls you might have, whatever technical calls you might have, and assist you. The business has invested an awful amount of money in making sure that we can deliver top tier service for you. So very,
correct.
Very I think we want to make sure that our platform wins, but we also want to make sure that our customers win, because it's a win-win for everybody. Philippe, my brother, thank you so much for your time. What's your plan for the rest of the afternoon?
I will go swim.
You know, I love this about our conversation. Last time you were telling me about your SSU, the Ferrari. Now we're talking about going to some... Guys, this is why we're trying to make this money, so that we can swim
invest on yourself
on a Wednesday.
My advice to people: give more love, and invest on yourself, and spend time and money on yourself, and automatically, if you're solid, the love and the knowledge and the help to others will come automatically if you're strong in your mind. It's important. And it's all moments. It's all temporarily. Enjoy it, whatever. And when you have bad moments, it's life. It's your destiny. You have to go through it. Everybody has a bad and good moment. It's okay.
Amazing. My brother, thank you so much for connecting. I'm going to leave you to it. We're going to chat soon. By the way, I've asked, I just sent a note now to Tafara, my guy, to ask for us to set up that session to talk about some of the stuff we've done on our side. So we're very ahead in terms of discussions that we've had. And I'm very keen for us to start rolling out. So I expect I'll be seeing you next week or so.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take it easy, brother.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was Philippe. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining the conversation, for your queries, your questions. I am in Tanzania. I'm doing an event here with the Tanzanian Institute of Managers. So please go and check them out, the Tanzanian Institute of Managers. Come to the event. We're doing the event tomorrow at the Hyatt. We're doing the event tomorrow at the Hyatt in Tanzania. And I think there are still some tickets available. So if you'd like to come through, please make sure that you do that. This evening, I've got meetings with some dignitaries and some high-level business meetings that I can't discuss publicly. And so there's a lot going on. But take care of yourselves. And Nkosi Mbusise, remember that Vusi loves you. And whatever you're doing out there, don't take a risk you can't afford to take. Don't listen to advice from somebody who hasn't done the thing they're telling you to do. All right, everybody. Sayonara. Cheers, family.